Alright, we are going to be doing kind of an inverse daily do today. I'm going to be starting off with the comment of the day from yesterday because it kind of triggered the word we're going to be creating for today and inspired my response that I was going to go for. So let's just hop up into the comment of the day, then we'll do our word creation, and then we will end off with the song and video of the day. So the comment again came from Gavin. All he said was initial thought, ... nice cutoff. I mean, there's nothing too crazy about this comment, but it brought up an idea in my head, so that was helpful. Thus, we're gonna give you a 22 out of 29. Moving on to why I decided to use this comment to guide this video. The reason is, that shirt is one I got in Australia while I was studying abroad. And it made me just kind of think about a little bit of my experience there, as well as somewhat of what I'm trying to do at the moment as well, or something that I feel like I might need now as well. And of course, also thank you for the compliment on that shirt. I actually really love that shirt. It was in the free store of the student housing I was in, which is just where you throw stuff that you don't really want. And people can just like take the things they want. So I took this shirt. I'm like, this thing's awesome. I'm just going to cut it off, use it as a workout shirt. And I think it's really great. Enjoy that one. It just made me think back to my experience while I was in Australia. And it was great. I was supposed to be there for a full semester. I was supposed to be there for 4 months. I ended up only being there for 4 weeks, and I can really say that I lived my best life when I was in Australia. Things went way better for me in Australia than they have in probably any other portion in my life, and I was only there for like a month. I'd been in college for 2.5 years at that point. They'd probably been the worst 2.5 years of my life. They were all pretty terrible. I was not happy with the direction anything was going. I'm like, I really need a reset. And I just need something drastically different in my life for a bit. And so the study abroad timing was good. I'm like, okay, we'll just go basically as far away as possible for a while in an area that I do want to be in, see how things go. And it'll just be a fresh start. I don't know anyone. We'll see how this goes. And it went super, super well. In my college experience, I really struggled to make any new friends. Socially, it was a horrible time for me just about all the way through college. I made more friends in Australia in that 1 month than I made definitely all throughout college, maybe in like most of my adult/teenage life. There was a massive group of people that I was just kind of always around, always talking to, had great conversations with all types of people. The amount of good-looking girls that I was constantly chatting up were very numerous, and there was a lot of opportunity and interesting things going on. And socially, it was definitely the best period of my life. And something that isn't always the case for me, I could just go out and do anything with these people, and it would just be a great time. Like, usually, with me now, I kind of have to be doing a good activity with good people to have a good time, and that wasn't really the case. I'd be like, all right, hit up these people, doesn't matter what we're doing, I'm gonna have fun. Maybe that was also because I was drinking a lot more in Australia than than when I was here. Like, I was kind of a different person over there. Because I went into it, I'm like, all right, I don't have the usual things that I'm doing in my life. I'm not gaming all the time, which is what I normally do. I'm not doing YouTube very much. I just got to find something else to talk about and do interesting things with. And I managed to do that. And I also drank a lot. Like, most people knew me for just always having like a bottle of wine in my hand, drinking straight out of the bottle. I would have like 1 or 2 a night pretty regularly, so I was a fun person to be around then. And like all those people from Australia kind of remember me for that. They're like, oh, every time I see wine, I think of you, and it's just so weird. I like almost never drink now. And to give you an example of how different things really were, most of my life, every time I hang out with friends, it's basically all guys. It's a sausage fest basically every time. That was not the case when I was going out with people in Australia. Like, it was a very diverse group, both in nationality and gender, and sexuality. Like, there was one night where I went out with, I think it was 7 or 8 girls and 3 gay dudes. And I'm like, oh my God, I am the only straight dude in this entire group of people right now, which has never been an experience with me. I was just like, I have never been in this spot before, and I'm like willingly going into this, and it's not weird, the dynamic with these people. It was extremely guai-red, and just not something I'd experienced before. But that's how different things were over there, and how I could just be thrown into any situation gracefully flow through it. Through a couple bottles of Moscato, I guess. Maybe some vodka Red Bulls. And like once I left too, there was so many people that like made an effort to like say goodbye to me and be nice to me and show like some appreciation and just show that they like cared, which was so uncommon. I don't really even get that in like small circles anymore. And so it was just very interesting that there were so many people that like did that for me over there. And I've got an example here too, like they bought this card for me, leaving to have a baby. Because when I was studying abroad, I was there for a month. I had to come back 3 months early because of COVID. And so like we were just getting pulled back way too early. I was super devastated. Everyone else was kind of devastated that I had to go. And it was really tough because I was in this rut in my life. And I got this reset. And it went great. And I'm like, okay, I can move forward and I can do other things in my life and have things actually work out. Problem is I got pulled out so quickly. And when you're resetting like that, I don't feel like you want to go back if you thought your situation used to be bad. You don't want to find something that you think is better, see that it's better, and then be pulled back into what's bad. That's kind of what happened. Made all these new connections. I was able to be the person I wanted to be, charismatic, outgoing around everyone, building connections. That was all so great. And I didn't have to use gaming at all. I barely talked about it. And then I got brought back. And it was kind of hard to regain that when I was in the same situation I had been. And I feel like I have to get out of that same situation again. And all of this is really building to the word that I'm going to be creating. And that word is going to be Reliest. Reliest is working off of a couple ideas that are incorporated in what this really means. It is centered mostly around reset, that's what you're doing, and life in the middle as well. So we've got the start of the word which is just like to do again, basically. Then we have li, which is naturally the start of life, and the core of that, just taking out the fe at the end. And then we end with an est. So, I mean, we still have the 3 ending letters of reset. So the whole word of reset is technically in there, but not in the same order. And I think it sounds a little better like Reliest. Plus, Reliest also sounds very similar to realized. And I think that's very appropriate because it's kind of when you have realized something, you realized a deficiency in your life, or more likely multiple deficiencies in your life. You're like, all right, we got to start, move this town and put it somewhere else, basically. I mean, you got to make big, sweeping changes to try to get things on track. It's not minor tweaks. This is like, all right, my life needs to pull a 180 here and do something really different. That's where I think Reliest needs to be used, and I think it should be reserved more for drastic changes, not small adjustments. And I think there's just times where you realize, okay, I've maybe been down the wrong path right now, and some things seriously have to change. It is a life reset, kind of like a respawn too, like that kind of works as well. You're coming back into the world with a new life based off of your previous decisions and experiences that you've gained. I also kind of look at it like a rebuild, as in like a NBA team. I mean, we're about to hit trade deadline. I think it's tomorrow. And so you figure out what's really important in core to your team, and you kind of cut the fat, dish out some other people, find some value, find some things to build off of, and just really make sure you have what's important, but you're taking in a new direction. That's like a rebuild with an NBA team. This is the equivalent for your life, basically. And that's what we're going for with Reliest. Now let's move on to the song and video of the day. Song of the day is from an Australian. Figured it was appropriate to select that. It's The Kid Leroy's Lonely and Fucked Up. This might be my favorite The Kid Leroy song. I think this one is so amazing, super catchy, also depressing, which if you haven't really noticed is kind of my vibe with a lot of my music. I listen to a lot of different things, but That generally is like some of my favorite stuff.
I know I said that I'd change, but I never could. I'm still lonely and fucked up.
But yeah, this one is great. Then video of the day, we went with something a bit more motivational. It is Tim the Tatman Motivation from Asian Jonathan. And this is from quite a few years ago. And I mean, Tim was still definitely established as a streamer at this time, but was still kind of building and had just kind of maybe become a little bit more prominent. But the motivational speaking going on throughout the 4-point of this video is just that. It's very motivational. It's about following your dreams, believing in yourself. It's a video that I do like to go back to give myself some motivation, and one that I think is really valuable and helpful. And now that will do it for the Daily Do. Peace out.